Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 24. Srijami tapasai vedam grasami tapasa punaha vivarmi tapasa vishvam viryam me dushcharam tapaha.
Hare Krishna. Translation. I create this cosmos by such penance, I maintain it by the same energy, and I withdraw it by the same energy. Therefore, the potency is penance only.
Brahma Vacha Bhagavan Sarvabhutanam Adhyakshobha Avastisto Guham Vedhyam Rabirito Dhena Prajnanena Chikirsitam.
Lord Brahma said, O personality of Godhead, you are situated in every living entity's heart as the supreme director, and therefore you are aware of all endeavors by your supreme intelligence, without any hindrance whatsoever.
Tathapi natha manasya natha nathaya nathitam paravare yatha rupe janiyam tetva arupinaha.
In spite of that, my Lord, I am praying to you to kindly fulfill my desire. May I please be informed how, in spite of your transcendental form, you assume the mundane form, although you have no such form at all.
Yatha maya yogena mana shakti upabrimhitam vilumpam vimrijan grihnan bhirad atmanam.
And please inform me how you, by your own self, manifest different energies for annihilation, generation, acceptance, and maintenance by combination and permutation.
Kridasya amugha sankalpa unadabhir yathurnute yatata tad visayam hi manisamai madhava.
O Master of all energies, please tell me philosophically all about them. You play like a spider that covers itself by its own energy, and your determination is infallible.
Bhagavatsitam aham karabani yathandritaha neha manah praja sargam badhyayam yad anugrahat.
Please tell me so that I may be taught in the manner by the instruction of the personality of Godhead, and may thus act instrumentally to generate living entities without being conditioned by such activities.
Yavad sakasak yuvishete kritaha praja visharge vabhajami bhojanam aviklavaste parikarmanastito mame samanmadha madhojamaninaha.
O my Lord, the unborn, you have shaken hands with me just as a friend does with a friend, as if equal in position. I shall be engaged in the creation of different types of living entities, and I shall be occupied in your service. I shall have no perturbation, but I pray that all this may not give rise to pride, as if I were the supreme.
Sri Bhagavanuvacha Jnanam Paramadhyam me Yad Vijnana Samanvitam Sarasyam Tarangamscha Grihana Gaditam Maya.
The personality of Godhead said, "Knowledge about me as described in the scriptures is very confidential, and it has to be realized in conjunction with devotional service. The necessary paraphernalia for that process is being explained by me. You may take it up carefully."
Yavamaham yatha bhavo yadrupa gunakarmakaha tathaiva tattva vijnanam ashtute madhu nugrahat.
All of me, namely my actual eternal form and my transcendental existence, color, qualities, and activities, let all be awakened within you by factual realization out of my causeless mercy.
Aham eva sham evagre nan Nanyat sad asat param paschad aham yad etakcha yova shishchita sosmirayaham.
Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself, nor was there material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead, and after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead.
Ritirtham yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta tatmani tadvidyad atmano mayam yatha vasho yatha tamaha.
O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. No, it is as my illusory energy, that reflection which appears to be in darkness.
Yatha mahati bhutani bhutesu chavachesvanu pravishtani apravishtani tatha tesho nateshvaham.
O Brahma, please know that the universal elements enter into the cosmos and at the same time do not enter into the cosmos. Similarly, I myself also exist within everything created, and at the same time I am outside of everything.
Etadvat eva jijnasyam natva jijnasanat manaha anvaya vyatere kabhyam yat sarvatra sarvada.
A person who is searching after the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, must certainly search for it up to this in all circumstances, in all space and time, and both directly and indirectly.
Etanmatam samatishta paramena samadhina havan kalpa Nepeshu Navimudhyati Karhichit.
O Brahma, just follow this conclusion by fixed concentration of mind, and no pride will disturb you, neither in the partial nor in the final devastation.
Sri Sukha Vacha Sampradeshyayam Ajano Jananam Parameshtitnam Parsyatastasya Tadlupam Atmano Niyarunadharihi.
Sukadeva Goswami said to Maharaj Parikshit, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, after being seen in his transcendental form, instructing Brahmaji, the leader of the living entities, disappeared.
Antarhitendriyarthaya haraye vihitanjalihi sarvabhutamayo vishvam sasarjedam sapurvavat.
On the disappearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, who is the object of transcendental enjoyment for the senses of devotees, Brahma, with folded hands, began to recreate the universe full with living entities as it was previously.
Prajapatir dharmapatir ekada niyaman bhadram pajayanam anvikchan atishtat swartha karmiyaya.
Thus, once upon a time, the forefather of living entities and the father of religiousness, Lord Brahma, situated himself in acts of regulative principles, desiring self-interest for the welfare of all living entities.
Tam naradha daha parvatna tamo riktada namanuvrataha shusrusa manah silena prashrayena damena cha.
Narada, the most dear of the inheritor sons of Brahma, always ready to serve his father, strictly follows the instructions of his father by his mannerly behavior, meekness, and sense control.
Mayam vividhi san Vishnur Mayeshasya Mahamunihi Mahabhagavato Rajan Pitaram Parayatoshayat.
Narada very much pleased his father and desired to know all about the energies of Vishnu, the master of all energies, for Narada was the greatest of all sages and greatest of all devotees, O king.
Tushtam Nisamya Pitaram Lokanam Papitamaham Devashi Piripa Prasha Brahvanyan Manupritchati.
The great sage Narada also inquired in detail from his father Brahma, the great grandfather of all the universe, after seeing him well satisfied.
Ashmaidam Bhagavatam Puranam Dasha Lakshanam Proktam Bhagavata Praha Pritha Prataya Bhutakrit.
Thereupon, the supplementary Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, which was described by the personality of Godhead and which contains 10 characteristics, was told with satisfaction by the father Brahma to his son Narada.
Nara Pranan Muneye Saravatyastate Nipra Dhyayate Brahma Puranmam Vyasayamita Tejasi.
In succession, O king, the great sage Narada instructed Srimad Bhagavatam unto the unlimitedly powerful Vyasadeva, who meditated in devotional service upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, on the bank of the river Saraswati.
Yadutaham Tya Tvaya Pristo Vyarajat Purasad Idam Yata Sittadupa Krishaste Prashnam Anyam Chakritsnatsaha.
O king, your questions as to how the universe became manifested from the gigantic form of the personality of Godhead, as well as other questions, I shall answer in detail by explanation of the 4 verses already mentioned. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Very nice recitation, Janukanya Mataji and Alka Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji and Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you both Mataji's for really reciting so well both the verses. So today we have verses from chapter 9, canto 2, 40 till 43. So before starting the verses, let's do our Mangalacharan, if that's okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Tadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. My humble obeisance to all the devotees present in this forum. Hare Krishna. So I was wondering if anybody could start the verses, please, if that's okay. Mataji, verse 40. Is anybody willing to read the verse? It's a small verse, not very big.
Hare Krishna, please can I
Hare
read?
Krishna, Mataji.
Do you want me to do the Sanskrit as well?
Yes, Mataji, just do the whole thing because it's very
Okay.
small.
प्रजापतिर्धर्मपतिर् एकदा नियमान्यमान् भद्रं प्रजानाम् अनिच्छन् आतिष्ठ स्वार्थकाम्यया. Translation. Thus, once upon a time, the forefather of living entities and the father of religiousness, Lord Brahma, situated himself in acts of regulative principles, desiring self-interest for the welfare of all living entities. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. One cannot be situated in an exalted position without having undertaken a regulative life of rules and regulations. An unrestricted life of sense gratification is animal life, and Lord Brahma, in order to teach all concerned within the jurisdiction of his generations, taught the same principles of sense control for executing higher duties. He desired the welfare of all as servants of God, and anyone desiring the welfare of the members of his family and generations must conduct a moral, religious life. The highest life of moral principles is to become a devotee of the Lord, because a pure devotee of the Lord has all the good qualities of the Lord. On the other hand, one who is not a devotee of the Lord, however qualified he may be in the mundane sense of the term, cannot be qualified with any good quality worthy of the name. The pure devotees of the Lord, like Brahma and persons in the chain of disciplic succession, do not do anything to instruct their subordinates without acting accordingly themselves. Hare Krishna.
Can you read the other verse also, Mataji? 40, 41, so we can do it together. Just only one line.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Thank you, Mataji.
Tam narada priyatamo riktadhanam anurataha shushrusamana shilena prashrayena damena cha. Translation. Narada, the most dear of the inheritor of sons of Brahma, always ready to serve his father, strictly follows the instructions of his father by his mannerly behavior, meekness, and sense control. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much. So I think yesterday we did the verses from 37 to 39, and we were trying to read, know what is stage of realization, and how we, in the state of self-realization, we become Atmarama, and then when we are fully satisfied, then obviously that is when we start our real bhakti or we go into the stage of parabhakti. So now this is again in this verses of here is the extension of that. But over here, what we're trying to say is Brahmaji, who is a great grandfather, great grandfather, what Brahmaji wants from us now. And basically it's like a family, how we are in a family, your father and your mother, they have some rules and regulations, and they want the residents of the family or the children to follow those rules and regulations. And why do they want them to follow rules and regulations? So that they have a name and goals, so that, for example, your children, if they read and study and well, if they want to eat at the right time, sleep at the right time, do the proper things, then the life will be balanced, and then they can gain knowledge, and then they can get better, and they can get a better job, a better house. So that is their aim. But over here, Brahmaji's aim over here, we have to understand, is to make all of us God conscious. And why he wants us to make God conscious? So that we can go back to Godhead. So that is the secret given by the Lord to Brahma, to make everybody God conscious. So, but to become God conscious, we are so much in this material world. When we are coming to it, when we become attracted to the material energy, then we lose that. We lose the aim and the goal. And so therefore Lord Brahma is trying to get us back into that. So to achieve that, because we've gone back into this material world so much, we need to, as we say, first wash away all the material qualities. We should wash them, by being detached and then engage in the services. So how do we wash away those? By following the regulative principles. Brahmaji, how did he get knowledge? He didn't get just like in a platter, you know, he didn't get it in a plate. Okay, come and take it. He had to do severe penance. Brahmaji had to do severe penance for the Lord to be satisfied. The same way, we also have to do severe penance for the Lord to be satisfied so that we can go back. Or Brahmaji, this is what he will try to, how he will try to get these qualities into it. This chapter tells us that. So Brahmaji, he took this regulative life of rules and regulations. Why did he take these rules and regulations? Because he wanted to teach all the people in this Mrityuloka. Basically, the idea is to treat everybody in this loka so that they can in this to teach all the people in this loka and all his generations. So whatever, everybody is Brahmaji's generation because he created everyone. So he wanted them to go back to Godhead. So he wanted, so he was his family is limited to all the people he had created. And what did he want to teach? So he wanted to teach that how to control your senses. You have to use principle to control your senses. And why do you want to control your senses? Because we can perform higher duties. So what are those higher duties? Is that we have to be the servants of God. So this is the main idea. This is the whole essence of Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, everything. So how do we get out of this material world and how we can go back to Godhead? So this has been reiterated over and over again, every form, whatever story you take, the essence is the same, that we should come out of this material life and go back to Godhead. How you do it is your way. They've given you. It's given you free will how to do it. So this is what you have to do. So anybody, so again of here in this paragraph, Srila Prabhupada tries to say that the way anybody desiring for the welfare of the family, members of the family, like I said, if the family, they have to go through a moral life or religious life. Only then they can be disciplined. Otherwise, if you do not have any discipline, you will have, in the end, you don't even know where you're starting, where you're going. So if you're disciplined, you have a starting point and then you have an ending point, you know, because when you're disciplined, you have everything is in a stepwise process. So our discipline is to follow the regulative principles. And why do we want to follow the regulative principles? So that we can wash away our material sins and become attached to the Lord, to become the devotee of the Lord so that we can serve the Lord. And why do you want to become a devotee of the Lord? Because we are all part and parcels of the Lord. So whatever qualities the Lord has, we will also have. Okay, but the Maya, this materialistic thing is covering up all the qualities. It is showing all the negative qualities over there. So we want to take out all those negative qualities. And how we do that? By tapasya. So devotees of the Lord means discipline mostly. Okay. So and how do we get that? How do we get the knowledge is also explained by following a spiritual master. And the spiritual master does not just instruct anybody to do everything, because the spiritual master also he does those things so that he's just giving a living example. See, I have done it, so you can do it. Or I have done it, so you have to do it. You know, so it is like walking the talk. It's not just giving up. Okay, you do so and so, you do so and so, but the spiritual master does not do. No, they have also gone through the grind. They have gone through every step and seen, they have followed every rules and regulations from their spiritual master. And they want to pass it on to their disciples so that the disciple also does the same thing. So that is the parampara system we have. Now in the second verse over here, this is a simple verse which is said, now Narada. So over here Narada has given special mention of here because he is among the sons of Brahma. Brahma loves Narada most because he's they say he's got the most sense control, and he's well mannered. He listens to he's a very obedient son. So when you look in the family, they will see the most obedient son he will get lots of favors from the father or the mother, whatever it is, obedient son or daughter, whatever the child. So over here, the second verse tells that Narada is the beloved son of Brahma because of his qualities. He is so well-mannered. He follows the instructions of his father. He's quite meek. He has very good behavior, obedient, and his readiness to render service. Whatever some people are there, whatever you say, we're ready to do it. They will not have any qualms about it because they're serving for other people. So then they will have that quality that I am doing it for Krishna. But when we start thinking about ourselves a lot, then we start speculating. Oh, what is there in for me? We will start thinking, if I do this, what will I get? When you start doing that, then you lose the essence of it. So we have to understand that all of us are doing the service for Krishna. So let's go into the next second two verses, and then we can go a bit more deeper. Is that okay, Mataji? If I can have a volunteer who could read the next two verses, is that okay?
I can try, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mayam vividishan Vishnor Maye Shashya Mahamuni Mahabhagvato Rajan Pitaram Paryatoshayat. Translation. Narad very much pleased his father and desired to know all about the energies of Vishnu, the master of all energies, for Narad was the greatest of all sages and greatest of all devotees, O king. Purport. Lord Brahma, being the creator of all living beings in the universe, is originally the father of several well-known sons like Daksha, the Chatushanas, and Narad. In three departments of human knowledge disseminated by the Vedas, namely fruitive work, Karmakanda, transcendental knowledge, Jnanakanda, and devotional service, Upasana Kanda. Deva Rishi Narad inherited from his father Brahma devotional service, whereas Daksha inherited from his father fruitive work, and Sanaka, Sanatana, etc. inherited from their father information about Jnanakanda or transcendental knowledge, but out of them all, Narad is described here as the most beloved son of Brahma because of good behavior, obedience, meekness, and readiness to render service unto the Father. And Narad is famous as the great of all sages because of his being the greatest of all devotees. Narad is the spiritual master of many famous devotees of the Lord. He is spiritual master and Prahlad, Dhruv, and Vyas down to the forest animal hunter Kirata. His only business is to turn everyone to the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Therefore, all these features of Narad make him the dearmost son of his father. And all this is due to Narad's being the first class devotee of the Lord. The devotees are always anxious to know more and more about the Supreme Lord, the master of all energies, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 10.9. Machita matgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. The Supreme Lord is unlimited and his energies are also unlimited. No one can know them completely. Brahmaji, being the greatest living entity within this universe and being directly instructed by the Lord, must know more than anyone within this universe, although such knowledge may not be complete. Thus, it is the duty of everyone to ask about an unlimited Lord from the spiritual master in the disciplic succession of Brahma, which descends from Narad to Vyas and Vyasa to Sukadev, and so on. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So in this verse, again, we know how, so Brahmaji, so Narada basically wanted to know from Brahmaji the energies of Vishnu. And Narada is also known as the greatest of sage and the greatest of the devotees. Here he explains how Brahmaji has his children and what each children belong to different modes of the nature. So we have here as Daksha Prajapati. He is more of materialistic kind of karma kanda. And then we have Chatushanas. We have all the 4 sages, and they are mostly they know about knowledge. Whereas Narada is all about bhakti, so devotional service. And Narada, so as we know, bhakti is the topmost among all the others. So we can find out that how Narada becomes the most devoted son and the most loved son of Brahmaji. And because he's taken up all the most of the qualities of Brahmaji. So in that, so when from Brahma, all these 3 come out, but as we know in Bhagavad Gita, among the karma yoga, gnana yoga, bhakti yoga is the topmost. Even though it is sandwiched between both of them in our Bhagavad Gita. The softest part in a sandwich is the in the masala inside. So that is the bhakti yoga which we have. So over here, Narada Muni, he's taken over the best part from the best quality of his father. And that is the bhakti yoga. And over here again, they describe how Narada Muni is actually, how can we go? So goodness always attracts goodness, you know. So if your inner quality is good, then you will start looking for good things. If your taste is high, you will start looking for higher taste things. Example I can give for materialistic things, you know, if you have a higher taste for good quality clothes, I suppose. I mean, you're buying for Krishna or you're buying for yourself, whatever it is. If you have a higher quality, then even though there'll be lots of shops around, but your mind will not be happy with the things because they're not of that taste. So over here, you can take Narada as having a very higher taste over here and of Bhakti Yoga. So Bhakti Yoga is the topmost. So you will only go for the places where you can get really good quality stuff. So you want to do anything best for Krishna. So the same way over here, Narada Muni has taken the best quality of Bhakti Yoga. So he takes in the most adorable quality, that he's so well behaved, you know, very well behaved. And then he's quite obedient to his father. Whatever father says, he will follow to the devotee. And he's quite meek. He doesn't challenge, or he doesn't. I mean, he can ask questions. He queries, but he doesn't. When somebody is challenging something, they feel threatened, and then the whole bhav goes off differently. So over here, Narada Muni is asking, but he's not challenging as such. And then he is quite readiness to render service unto father. So if father says, okay, do for me this, he will go immediately do. So father says, do this for me, they will do. So he will not question. So when a spiritual master asks us to do something, we have to do. If you do not know, just for knowledge, you can ask, what does this mean? Because you want to learn the quality, or learn why the spiritual master is asking us, but not as a challenge. Why did you ask me to do this? So that becomes a disobedience. So that is not right. So the same way over here, Brahmaji is the spiritual master for Narada Muni. So he is obeying his own spiritual master, who happens to be his father. So again, when you can see that by learning all these qualities, Narada Muni also imbibes those qualities. He takes in those qualities of the goodness, and then he gives it to his devotees. His devotees are, you have seen how great the names have become: Prahlada, Dhruva, Vyasa. Please forgive me, I don't know much about Kirata, but I will find out. I think Shailesh Prabhu can fill in later about Hunter Kirata, if possible, or Amoga Prabhuji you can also say, or anybody in the family. So here you can see how his devotees are so very, very well versed. Prahlada, Dhruva, Vyasa, all of them have such good qualities. Now, what is Narada Muni's role over here? Now we have to understand what was Brahmaji's role, we said, so that he wants to give all these regulative principles so that people, all the living beings, can go back to Godhead. And Narada Muni's role over here, his only business, Srila Prabhupada says, is to make everyone God conscious or spiritually conscious so that they can start serving the Lord. And by serving the Lord, again, we have attraction to the Lord, and then we have our attachment to the Lord, and then we can go back to Godhead. So all these, so to become a good devotee, we should be like Narada Muni, follow up and be dearmost, how he's dearmost to his father. The same way we have to be a first-class devotee. And what is a first-class devotee? Srila Prabhupada will always trying to explain in this next verse, saying that a devotee who is quite jignasa, he's always wanting to know more and more about the Lord, about any quality of the Lord, anything about the Lord. Suppose the Lord is wearing the dress, or suppose the Lord is doing such and such activities. Why the Lord is doing it? What for? So anything connection with the Lord. So you should have that jignasa or the curiosity to know about the Lord and all his energy. So what is his activities? What are his pastimes? So what are the pravachans? What are the things God has said, and what was the reason why he said it? So everything we should have a curiosity. So that is the quality of a good devotee, and along with having all the qualities, that's why some, like how Shukadeva Goswami. So all of us, for example, all of us go through this varnashrama is to imbibe these qualities actually, but because some of them are very what should I say, exalted, because some of them become sannyasas at a very young age because they have really exalted qualities. They don't need to go through all these varnashram stages, first brahmachari and then grihastha and then vanaprastha and then sannyasa. Some people just go straight to sannyasa, and that is the real greatness of them. So they have so much of sense control, power of sense control, and tapasya and penance they do. Whereas some people want best of both, they can't give away the materialistic life, but they want the spiritual also and the materialistic also. So for the Srila Prabhupada, I mean all these the other levels are also being said so that it'll be a staged process for people to come into sannyasa stage. So over here, Srila Prabhupada tries to say that how the devotee should ask for, should be wanting to know, should be really having that kuntha, the anxiety to ask about, to know about the Lord more. So in this verse it says, Mat chitta mat kata prana bodhayanta parashparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. So we have to understand that the Lord, obviously we know, Lord is unlimited, we know. There is no limits for Lord. And also so are his energies over here. We can never know. We are very conditioned. We are just a small speck in that ocean. How can we know anything about the ocean? We're just a small drop. We won't know anything about the whole ocean. Yes, we might have a little of, we know that so and so, it has these qualities, but what is contained in the ocean, we might not know. So it's difficult for us to know the Lord's all energies and about the whole thing about the Lord. Brahmaji, in this earth, Brahmaji is the highest person over there who knows maximum about the Lord. Doesn't mean that he knows everything about the Lord. He also knows only a little bit. But we are just a small speck. So imagine Brahmaji knows so many things and we are a small thing. So imagine so much of work we got to do. So even though Brahmaji knows the maximum of all, it doesn't mean that he knows everything about the Lord. He still doesn't know everything. So we always, so our duty, so Srila Prabhupada is trying over here is that our duty to everyone is to ask about the Lord. So how do we get to know about it? From a spiritual master who has learned from his spiritual master, and so on. So that is a disciplic succession. And that we have from how we have got from the Bhagavan, we have got to Brahma, and from Brahma to Narada Muni, and Narada Muni to Vyasadeva, from Vyasadeva to Shukadeva Goswami, and so on. So the next verse, please. If somebody can read that verse, or is it okay? Is anybody there to read, or should I read it? I'll read it if nobody's reading.
I can read, Mataji.
Please, Prabhuji, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Sanskrit as well, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, Prabhuji, please read that.
तुष्टं निष्मया पित्रं लोकानां प्रपितराम् अनहां देवऋषि परिप्रच्छा भावान्यन्मनुपृच्छति. The great sage Narad also inquired in detail from his father Brahma, the great grandfather of all the universe, after seeing him well satisfied. Papa as well, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, if you can scroll up, Mataji. The process of understanding spiritual or transcendental knowledge from the realized person is not exactly like asking an ordinary question from the schoolmaster. The schoolmasters in the modern days are paid agent for giving some information, but the spiritual master is not a paid agent. Nor can he impart instruction without being authorized in the Bhagavad Gita 434. The process of understanding transcendental knowledge is directed as follows. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashena sevaya upakadeshyanti te jnanam jnanins tattva darshina. Arjuna was advised to receive transcendental knowledge from the realized person by surrender, questions, and service. Receiving transcendental knowledge is not like exchanging dollars. Such knowledge has to be received by service to the spiritual master, as Brahmaji received the knowledge directly from the Lord by satisfying him fully. Similarly, one has to receive the transcendental knowledge from the spiritual master by satisfying him. The spiritual master's satisfaction is the mean of assimilating transcendental knowledge. One cannot understand transcendental knowledge simply by becoming a grammarian. The Vedas declare, Yasya deve para bhakti yatha deve tatha guru tasyet kathita hi artha prakashante mahatmana. Only unto one who has unflinching devotion to the Lord and to the spiritual master does transcendental knowledge become automatically revealed. Shweta Shvatra Upanishad 6.23. Such relationship between the disciple and the spiritual master is eternal. One who is now the disciple is the next spiritual master, and one cannot be a bona fide and authorized spiritual master unless one has been strictly obedient to his spiritual master. Brahmaji, as a disciple of the Supreme Lord, received the real knowledge and imparted it to his dear disciple Narad, and similarly Narad as spiritual master handed over this knowledge to Vyas and so on. Therefore, the so-called formal spiritual master and disciple are not facsimiles of Brahma and Narad or Narad and Vyas. The relationship between Brahma and Narad is the reality, while the so-called formality is the relationship between the cheater and the cheated. It is clearly mentioned here that Narad is not only well-behaved, meek and obedient, but also self-controlled. One who is not self-controlled, specifically in sex life, can become neither a disciple nor spiritual master. One must have disciplinary training in controlling, speaking, and anger, the tongue, the mind, the belly, and the genital. One who has controlled the particular senses mentioned above is called a Goswami. Without becoming a Goswami, one can become neither a disciple nor a spiritual master. The so-called spiritual master, without sense control, is certainly the cheater, and the disciple of such a so-called spiritual master is the cheated. One should not think of Brahmaji as a dead grandfather, as we have experienced on his planet. He is the oldest great-grandfather, and he is still living. And Nara is also living. The age of the inhabitant of the Brahmlok planet is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. The inhabitants of this small planet's earth can hardly calculate even the duration of one day of Brahma. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for that. So here in this purpose, Srila Prabhupada writes that how Narada Muni, how he tries to inquire from his father in detail. So basically, here they're trying to say what is the process of understanding and how can one understand or get the transcendental knowledge from the spiritual master. It is not by just as we say, like in school, that is materialistic knowledge. Materialistic knowledge is only one direction, one dimension it is. Whereas spiritual knowledge has depth, so it is multi-dimensional. So multi-dimensional will have more weight. Anything like a paper is just like only one dimension you have, or two dimensions. But if you have something like a block of wood or something that is very heavy, that has more depth, so similar, like you can put it your form into it. So knowledge, transcendental knowledge is like that. It has many dimensions. But how to understand the process is not by just simply asking a question and getting an answer. So you have to engage all your senses to understand that. That is why it becomes multidimensional. It's just only talking, just talking, one person talking, another person answering, it becomes question and answer. Just like a report asks a question and the other person gives an answer. But if the other person gives with feeling and gives an answer, then you start thinking. When you start engaging your other senses, then it becomes more heavier. So same way, transcendental knowledge also, there's a process of learning. There's a process of actually understanding it. And it is not simple. So for even because this is Guhya, confidential knowledge, it is not available freely, So it has to come through the spiritual master. And how it will come to the spiritual master is we have to really surrender. First of all, unless, that's what Krishna tells Arjuna, you have to surrender first. After you surrender, then you'll have a jignasa and then you serve. So all these three are very important. Three qualities are very important. So, and you have to receive that knowledge from a realized person, from a person who has been self-realized. And how you can get that is only by these three qualities. That is there in the Bhagavad Gita 4.34. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya vadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. So over here we have to understand that how to satisfy the spiritual master. Now, it doesn't mean that every spiritual master will have the same level of satisfaction. Not necessary. It all depends upon Krishna, how bhavagrahi. Sometimes he's satisfied even with butter, sometimes he's satisfied with 57 bhoga, or sometimes with only a smile, or sometimes it all depends upon. So it all depends upon the spiritual master's satisfaction. So, but for that, you got to work hard to even know what is the spiritual master's qualities. So you need to know about that. So that is another important quality which we all have to know. You have to know the feelings, the mood, everything about the spiritual. The same way, we have to have a jignasa to know everything about the Lord. So we can get this through these beautiful books of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Chaitamrita. So these are the books which Srila Prabhupada always wants us to read, so that in that there's all depth of knowledge. You don't need to do anything else. Just by reading this, you'll understand what it is. And once you understand, then it will be very easy for you to have the path. So now, how even in the Vedas, so this is one thing in Bhagavad Gita, they said like the process of understanding is by surrender, like questions and service. In the Vedas, other verse is that Yasya Deva Para Bhaktir Yatha Deva Tatha Garav Tasyaite Kathita Hayarthaha Prakashante Mahatmanaha. So over here, how do we do it? By unflinching devotion. So your devotion should be, let what may come, I am devoted to the Lord. Spiritual master is the representative of the Lord. So that is the same. You should not take him as, oh, he's got a human body, or he's just like a man, like one of representative body. So you should take him as equal to the Lord. So when you do that, then automatically you will have, the knowledge will be revealed very much so. Otherwise, if you do not have these, if you're selfish enough, and that you have to understand that the reason why we want to learn, that thing should be there. and it is to serve the Lord. To serve the Lord means wherever Lord is there, wherever God is there, to serve them. So yes, you might say, Lord is there in me, I want to serve. Yes, you can serve for yourself, but not all the time. So you have to serve that you're only a small particle and compared to other people. So you have to serve. To serve the Lord, you got to have an unflinching devotion. So we have to understand that for all this to happen, you have to be having a good control of your senses. We did talk about senses yesterday. So the good control of your senses. So these 6 things which we say, not speaking too much, or you have to control your speech. Anger is another one which will bring down. You will use your intelligence and then it will bring bewilderment and then you will fall. Anger is one thing. Anger, lust, and the speech. You have to be very careful what you say, because see, in a body we have things, we have only one tongue, but it is so powerful, and you have to be very careful. We have 2 eyes, 2 ears, nostrils also 2, we have 2 hands, 2 arms, 2 legs, but only one tongue. So the tongue is very, very careful. You have to use it very, very carefully. It is like a diamond, a jewel. Use it only for good work. Never use it. Anything for bad, just keep it inside. Do not bring it out. It's just like the sword, You have to put it in its cover. Maya, you have to keep it inside. You should not bring it out. Because if you bring it out, it will only cut and not do anything. So you have to be very careful when you bring it out. So for us as Vaishnavas, if you bring out the sword, it is only to spread Krishna consciousness. And we can tell like this way, to cut down the sins of everyone. So we can get the sword out. And so you use your tongue to only spread the qualities of Krishna, of the qualities of all the pastimes of Krishna, or to change somebody, or to make anybody God consciousness. Then you're using your tongue for the right purpose. But if you're using it for any other purpose, then it becomes really negative for you. Same way, anger, when it's right, then only you have to use it. But that's also very, very rare. You have to stand for the right. If somebody is offending Krishna, of course, you as a devotee, you will stand. He is your commander. If somebody says anything against Krishna, you have to stand for it. So over there, anger could be appropriate to use. And then tongue, again, swada. Again, have to be careful how much if you eat. Like it also comes with tongue, with your taste, and also with your stomach. So we have to have a control on that. So if you eat too much, then you become ill. The same thing, you have to have control of your senses, and then you start satisfying your own senses rather than satisfying the senses of the Lord. And same thing with the mind. So your mind should be, so always remember, why do we say association? So your mind is so like a child, very distracted, influenced by anything. So if the child is in good environment, then they will learn all the good qualities. But example I can give you, like how for example, now we are in UK of here. So our quality of life in UK is so much better when compared to a quality of many years ago. I'm talking now, India is getting much better. But when you look at in UK also, there are again differences. So if a person is in a very, very bad association, the person will learn all the bad qualities. And that is because of the mind. The mind will really influence all these qualities. But if you are with good association, you will learn good qualities. Remember, we become de-skilled very quickly. Even if you don't see your parents for some time, you'll forget the qualities. So you have to be in association. The same thing, Krishna consciousness, we have to be in association with the devotee, with all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, and do the devotional service. The day you forget, you start missing out one, then you lose all the routine, because that's how our mind is. So we have to be constantly being engaged. This is what Srila Prabhupada says all the time. You have to be constantly engaged in devotional service. So repetition makes you perfect. And genitals is a very bad thing. Again, if somebody has sense gratification, then you literally fall down. So this is very, very important. So how you have to control your senses is so important. So, and over here in the last paragraph, it says that Brahmaji is, the spiritual master without sense control. You have to see that he's constantly the cheater. So imagine you have a spiritual master who's telling you what to do, but he does all the opposite. And then he does not follow regulatory principles, and then he, in a way, he's cheating you. So he's the cheater, and the disciple becomes the cheated, because you were believing the spiritual master. So they are, some people are that way apparently, but you have to be very careful of how you choose. But Krishna will always guide you if you're going with sincerity. Should always follow your associates, and you be in the good environment, you'll get the good vibes, and you can choose your own spiritual master, which really clicks you. It should strike a chord in your heart when you choose a spiritual master. And great grandfather is Brahmaji. He's still alive and still living. Obviously, we know the timing of Brahmaji's planet, and his time is so different than ours. So we are just like, our time is so tiny when compared to Brahma's time. So for us, he's always ever living. I just wanted to bring this up regarding this, how the 4 regulatory principles. This is a beautiful thing, as Srila Prabhupada wanted, because we still have time. I wanted to involve this also. If you give me another 5 minutes, very absolutely wonderful, where Srila Prabhupada is the healer. So how, I just want you to listen to this passage, which I would like to read. So among the many ways in which Srila Prabhupada differed from other gurus, the gurus, just to bring about the guru topic over here, who arrived in America in the 60s, was his insistence that his disciples follow certain rules or regulative principles. The 4 main ones being no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication, and no meat eating. Now, disciple, he would say, means discipline. So he would often quote a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.1, where Lord Rishabhadeva instructs his sons not to waste the lives chasing the pleasures available to hogs and dogs, but to undertake penance and austerity to attain unending happiness. So he always compared, our condition in this materialist existence is like a person being sick. So we are, all of us are spiritual beings, and in our healthy state, we taste full satisfaction and bliss at every moment. But now, the poison of desire, so he calls his desires as poisons, or the bugs, or the infection, and they are not at all conducive to our natural environment. So our natural position of the body is to serve Krishna, but then our desires are the infections or the bugs, and they have infected us. So that's why, because the desires have infected us, we can't get the bugs out of us. So that's why we can't think of Krishna. So how do we recover, get better? How do you become healthy and live happily again in pure Krishna consciousness? We need to get rid of this poison. So how do we get rid of this poison? Srila Prabhupada tells us is by taking a medicine, and taking a medicines according to one's daily activities. So how we take this medicine? So he tells us, first of all, we need to take the medicine, and we have to have a special diet. So the medicine he gives us is the Mahamantra, and the special diet is your Krishna Prasadam. Okay, so that is one thing I really wanted to say, and I wanted to just chant, just quote the Rishabha, Lord Rishabhadeva. Deva thing, how he tells to his son, So Lord Rishabhadeva tells his sons, Nunam pramata kurute vikarma yad indriya pritaya apnoti na sadhu manye yata atmanoyam asan api kleshada asa dehaha. So what they're trying to say is, over here, first of all, you have to understand, every living entity over here has a propensity for sense enjoyment. So loke vyavamisha madhya seva mitya hi janto. That comes in Bhagavatam 11.5.11. So jantu means a living being. Nitya means always. He always has a propensity for, every living entity has a propensity for vyavaya, amisha, and madhya seva. So vyavaya means sex life, amisha means meat eating, and madhya seva means intoxication. So these are natural instincts for all living entities. So Srila Prabhupada tries to say that, even every animal has an entity, has a desire to have these qualities. So the difference between them and us is how do we actually get rid of these rid of the desires? How do we do it? By doing tapasya. So because so your natural instinct is to stop them. So your natural instinct is to have these desires. How do you get rid of this? Is by tapasya. So by tapasya is by the Mahamantra which we said, and by devotional service to the Lord. So over here, when Lord Rishabha says, like, so all these desires should become zero, basically. So he says nunam. Nunam means, so nunam pramata kurute vikarma. So nunam means basically, in a way, you have to get rid of all these desires. So you should try to get rid of these desires by doing tapasya. So that was the one thing which I wanted to say. But even Krishna also, so this one more thing I really wanted to bring about is about how the Lord Krishna is trying to say, is like, we being souls, soul never dies. So soul never dies, and soul never is born, but the body is the one which is dying and being born. So when we are killing something, we are killing the body, but we're not killing the soul. So that means even for killing the body, you have no right to kill anybody without their permission, without their sanction. So anything we do without their permission is a sin. So for us not to be born again and again, na jayate, not to be born again and again, so we have to follow the path which Prabhupada has said, to do the Mahamantra, follow the 4 regulative principles, have Krishna Prasadam, and spread the Krishna consciousness through reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. They say, like, you have to instruct everyone to follow the orders of Lord Sri Krishna as they are given in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land. That's said in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 7.128. So simply preach the instructions of Krishna to whomever you meet. Then you become a spiritual master. That's all. Very simple thing. And our own, and plus we all need to not come back. So as we are in this, if we keep on attaching ourselves to materialistic life, then we'll be born again and again through this, and go through this whole 4 process of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi. So you have to be born, and you'll have death, and you'll have disease and old age. So to prevent that, so na jayate, no more death, no more birth. So because our basic position is not to be born, not to die, no birth or no death. That is our actual position. But because we are ignorant, we become pramattaha, become really mad and become crazy with this sense gratification. So we should really stop this birth and death cycle by not indulging in sense gratification and becoming engaged in Krishna consciousness. So Hare Krishna, I thought I should give that. And I know we are running out of time now, I think maybe 54. So thank you so much for listening. Anybody has any questions? And if anybody wants to say about Kirata, please, if anybody knows, please do say.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhupada.
Thank you for a very nice class, brilliant as usual. I just had a little doubt in my mind because it's true that having the association of devotees really helps for you to become a devotee as well and prosper. But sometimes it's hard because when you hear the example of Ravana, he had his brother Vibhishana. And when you hear that Hiranyakashipu had a son who was Prahlad Maharaj, and he was a devotee, yet is it because they didn't chant and didn't take prasad, that's why they couldn't, this devotee association didn't rub off on them? What was the reason? Why didn't?
Yeah, association was main, isn't it? But for them, pride was the biggest thing for them.
Mhm.
So the more you know the knowledge, the more humble you become, right? But
Yeah.
for them, pride and obviously they were in a different association altogether. If they were in the association of Prahlada Maharaj, I'm sure Hiranyakashipu would have become much, much more nicer.
Yeah.
And even little bit had he been associated, but he was against Prahlad Maharaj. I would give association that even in our Krishna consciousness, it is the association. If you do not have the association, we become so aloof. We are not like Haridasa Thakur or
No.
anybody, we are not those great souls where we can be on our own and we can chant and we can do things. I think our thing is so limited, Mataji. We are such very, 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 very small souls, and we get influenced so easily.
Yeah.
For us, not because we do not have so much of dedication, we have to be among associations. It's for our path to become easier.
Okay.
That is my explanation, but please fill in. Everybody else, please fill in.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. I hope that was.
No, that was very informative. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Janakani Mataji. Please ask.
Thank you for a wonderful class as usual. I'm not sure if I overheard right that no one should kill anybody without permission. Anyone without permission.
I mean, see, killing anybody, that's the problem. We are doing every time, we are killing so many things, isn't it? And
Yeah.
that is why how we can get rid of those sins is by Krishna says, offer it unto me, and then everything will be gone. So that is why we have this parampara of offering everything to the Lordship, so that we do not take in the sin. We are doing so many sins every day without our knowledge.
So are you? Yeah. So you meant anything or anyone.
So basically, I'm trying to say
like
I'm trying to say like the animals which all these people kill. No? So you might say like, if the soul is not dying or not living, so I mean, we're not killing anybody, but we're killing the body, and killing the body is actually without their permission, because the body is having the soul. They take the permission of the soul so that they can use that. So where the butchers are not, when we're killing the animals.
I just wondered.
Yeah.
I wonder if it can be seen as, asking somebody like euthanasia or something like that. Is that what you meant? You got permission to do it, so you can do it.
Well, I mean, see, that is again different. Yes, that is again, we are doing a sin, whether it's euthanasia or not. Even the person is giving us permission, but we have no right to take anybody else's life, even though. But
that's
then,
right. That's what I mean. That's what I'm thinking.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
but then
what
would happen in your job when you do? So like for my example, like some people, I mean, some other places where you go, some countries, they have euthanasia. We do not practice euthanasia, but over here, but then the people are made comfortable during the last end of the life, that is some way people can argue like, oh, but you are in a way inducing it. But then it is, I always believe that I leave everything to Krishna, and whatever Krishna says, then that will be, it forms, and all the thoughts comes in people's mind is through Krishna giving them the thoughts. That is what we believe. So, but we do have rules and regulations. We're not supposed to kill anyone. The same thing Krishna is also trying to say, you cannot kill a body, but the soul never dies. So if you say about euthanasia is a big topic, Mataji, we have to sit another day and really talk about it. The pluses, minuses, the sensitive things, the very ethical issues, but a lot. We can talk another time, maybe how we do and how, yeah.
But I'm just thinking about just the statement about, without you can kill with permission, that kind of thing. And I'm thinking that even if somebody
else, I don't think. I mean, what trying to basically, you can take the other way around. I'll apologize if that came as a wrong way. That you have no right to kill anyone. So you have no right to kill anyone because they have not given us the sanction, and nobody would want to die. Okay, anybody, if you ask them, even a person who's dying would want to live more and more. So your examples are there when people are at the end, near end, they're dying, but if you ask them, they will say, I want to live more. So nobody gives permission to kill, actually, if you ask them.
That's right. And as you say about if it's the body and it's not the soul, so, are we allowed? I'm also
We're not
confused.
allowed
Is
to
some-
kill anyone. Simple as that.
That's right.
So
I
that
mean,
is
not
what-
allowed to kill anyone, but body or not. But
But we are
uh,
killing so many without a knowledge.
yes,
So
that's what
as
I
a
was
Vaishnava,
thinking.
we're
So
not eating meat, Mataji, but we are still killing plants. We are still cutting the fruit off. We are
that's
still
right.
killing
So plant
so
is
many things we are
permission to
doing.
do the plant. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the
The
plants over
Shastras say you
there.
can
You're
eat
walking
plants.
on the
Yeah.
soil. How many small microorganisms we're killing? We don't even know. Like that poor ant, we're walking on the thing. How many ants and how many insects we are killing while we're walking, Mataji?
Hmm.
Even on the grass when we walk. We kill so lots, and we have to, whenever we see, we have to really, when you're not at all realizing. So that is the main thing of being consciousness, being like God consciousness, like seeing everything, and we know we are sinning, but then trying to ask forgiveness every time we go, oh God, we are doing this. Or sometimes maybe God just help this creature we have killed, but help this creature to go back to heaven or something of that. So give your prayers. I mean, I don't know what else can I say? Like, this is what I feel. Like sometimes you really become really overwhelmed seeing like so many killings are there. And then we can't survive then. It becomes very difficult.
Yes, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
yeah. Krishna.
So correction again, no, we cannot kill anyone, okay? Bottom line. So just to make sure that, because nobody gives sanction for us to kill anyone. Hare Krishna. Any more questions? Please forgive me for all my mistakes. I think should we say the closing prayers? Vancha kalpatarubhyascha
कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
All the devotees.
Hare
Hare
Bol.
Krishna.
Thank you,
Please forgive
Mataji.
me for all my
Hare
mistakes.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.